9th largest area in the world. A symbiosis of East and West. A country of great opportunities, bright impressions, everything you wanted to know about Kazakhstan, important notes, useful routes. In the program, Routes and Notes. Many people who enjoy traveling cannot imagine their holiday without relaxing sound of water. I think many of you automatically imagined relaxing beaches with transparent blue waters of some of the world ocean. But today we will not talk about this. We'll talk about a little bit about the lakes and rivers. And if the Western realities of recreation at the lake is very different, there is still strong image of recreation at the lake with some touch of wilderness in the form of tents, nightly bonfires, and gatherings under the stars in the company of friends at the former Soviet Union, which incidentally is quite romantic and exciting. But today this is no longer the only option for hanging out by the pool. The scope of the service level in the lakes of the CIS, and in Kazakhstan in particular, stretches from a wild rest to a 5-star hotel service. The only question is, what do you want and what do you expect to pay? Yes, Kazakhstan has managed to be the most distant point from the world's oceans, but that didn't prevent us from being relatively rich in water supply state. The country has nearly 50,000 lakes, and the vast number is located in the central and northern regions of the country. But it is when it comes to numbers. But according to the size, the picture of leadership changes. For example, the largest lake in the world, the Caspian Sea, is situated in the west of the country. There are less rivers in Kazakhstan than lakes, of course around 10,000, and they're the most different, big and small. The length of 7 rivers exceeds the mark of 1,000 kilometers. One of these giants is Irtysh River. It is included in 10 world's longest rivers, with an indicator of 5,000 kilometers, 1,700 kilometers of which flows through the territory of Kazakhstan. Naturally, without exception, those bodies of water is an eye candy for coastal residents. And many of the rivers and lakes is also a favorite vacation spot for both local residents and visitors. Vacation can be different, from summer relaxing getaway to extreme all-year-round adventure. Today we will try to make something like the rating of the most beautiful and unique water bodies of Kazakhstan, which is worth visiting if you suddenly find yourself somewhere nearby. There is a region in Kazakhstan which is called the 7 Rivers. It would be logical if we start from here. It is clear that the name of the place implies the presence of at least 7 rivers in this region. But of course, there are more rivers, it is just the largest are only 7. This southeastern side of the country is famous not only for the rivers. There is amazing beauty of the mountains, covered with ice or shaggy wild beauties. An abundance of fir trees and other types of greenery and breathtaking beauty of the lake. You have to understand how enchanting the lake and the mountains can be. It is something wonderful. But imagine that for this region, this symbiosis is a common thing. We'll tell you about 3, in our opinion, the most beautiful mountain lakes. This is Lake Kazakh, once insanely popular lake on the banks of which the life of holidaymakers boiled and raged. People came here from all over the Soviet Union. Until the early 1960s of the last century, on the shores of Lake Kazakh, a tourist center was built. There were bus station, hotel, restaurant, boat stations. On one of the turns of the road, at a height of 1,600 meters above the sea level, a viewing platform for a panoramic view of the gorge was organized. The site received a nice name, Garden of Air. There were hundreds of holidaymakers with tents almost every weekend. Even despite the fact that the water of the lake has always been very cold, in the hottest days the temperature did not rise above 5 to 6 degrees, and not everyone dared to swim in it. People still come, because it was really breathtakingly beautiful place. But one unpleasant Sunday afternoon, there came a devastating mud flow, which virtually destroyed the pond. But over time, the lake like a phoenix rose from the ashes and become much smaller but still so beautiful. Its main advantage is the color. Turquoise of its waters is a killer saturation and it sticks in your memory as an amazing experience. But to see the lake at its turquoise state, you need to come here closer to the fall, when the sand mineral slurry of floodwaters settle and fully disclose the true color of the lake. Anyone who has ever been lucky enough to visit the Kolsai lakes will never forget its splendor, peace and tranquility around the lakes. When the water surface is absolutely calm, it reflects the sky and the charming panorama of mountain landscape. Lake is surrounded by rocks, forests, alpine meadows and glades. Whole pale olive mountain flower Edelweiss is a spa for the soul, an unspeakable relaxation and peace. Kolsai Lake is called the Pearl of the Northern Tian Shan. They are located at 1,800, 2,250 and 2,700 meters above the sea level. The warm season lasts from April until the end of September. But this fact is important, not to designate swimming season. The water is pretty cool. Warm season is a great time for hiking. In these fascinating places, you can stroll on horseback or mountain bike. Normally, after visiting the many lakes of Kolsai, people go to nearby Lake Kainde. Among the number of mountain lakes of Almaty region, this lake stands out particularly. This lake, which is the dream of many to see as soon as they heard about it, especially divers. To say that Lake Kainde is beautiful is to say nothing. In the early 20th century, a strong earthquake caused the landslide that blocked the track, and one of the rivers in the valley in front of the obstacle gradually appeared unprecedented beautiful lake with an amazing shade of turquoise waters. Waters became the last refuge for the century-old fir trees. The trees are dead for more than 100 years, but the icy cold water still retained these trunks almost intact, especially underwater. If above the water, it has almost bare trunks, whereas under the water, you can see the silted branches with still preserved needles. Lake Kainde seems simply fantastic. The water seems to be alive, because every now and then it will change its color, then slightly open up its soul to you, becomes especially clear, then it closes on you, and then you can see absolutely nothing in it. Without exaggeration, Kainde Lake can be attributed to the objects that are worth visiting at least once in a while. And once you will visit it, you will leave with a sense of satisfaction at the thought that such an experience as Kainde has been in your life. There is a lake in the eastern part of Kazakhstan, which waters resemble a liquid jelly. They are so saturated with different useful components for human health. Not for nothing, because once waters of Alakol were part of the rehabilitation program for astronauts who returned from the space flight. This is exactly the unique case when to swim in warm chloride sodium waters of the lake is enough, and you don't have to rush to take a shower in order to continue the healing effect on the body. Alakol Lake is very popular among the residents of Kazakhstan and visitors from neighboring countries. Demand, as they say, creates supply, and today the coast is full of various boarding houses, recreation centers, and so on. Unique lake in Kazakhstan, the Lake Alakol is the second largest among internal reservoirs of Kazakhstan and the only deep-sea lake of the country. And this is the area close to the capital Astana. This is a resort area. And first of all, due to the abundance of lakes, there are hundreds and hundreds of them. Once you are at the Shchuchinsk Borovoy resort area, talk to the old-timers. They will tell you many beautiful legends about the area. One of them, for example, is the beginning of beginnings. When God created the world, says the old legend, one nation's got rich woods, fat fields and wide rivers. Another nation, beautiful mountains and vast lakes. Kazakhs received only steppe. It's such a shame though. And Kazakhs asked the Creator to give a particle of splendid nature. And Allah has scrapped from the bottom of his bag and scattered in the midst of vast feather grass steppe, picturesque cliffs, emerald meadows covered with flowers, springs with icy water and fun babbling brooks. He covered the mountain with colorful carpet of different trees and bushes. And especially generous was a handful of Allah's poured crystal clear lakes. All of them were small, but there were a lot of them. We can only add to this legend that in the central and northern parts of Kazakhstan, almost 80% of the total number of lakes of the Republic is concentrated. Medical Lake, centuries-old pine forest and even more ancient legends, is the highlight of Borovoy. But believe me, service is very modern. Dozens of resorts scattered around the lakes, resorts, guest houses and hotels. Here you can choose from accommodations for every budget and every taste, with any set of entertainment. However, we would advise you to take advantage of the situation and spend your vacation with maximum health benefits. Local mineral water, mud, healing air, plus all the conditions for active rest and very pleasant health recreation. Catamarans, boats, pedal boats, tennis, go-karting, quad bikes, football, volleyball, and so on and so forth. Lake is a truly wonderful creation of nature. Water element in its most peaceful, serene form. Ponds that have some amazing charm. Once you experience them, you become their loyal fan for many years.